All right, let's talk about the most customizable display and pedal assist experience on the market. Now that's the stock display on the Ride1Up Vorsa. Now all you have to do to turn on this display is tap the power button on the top to enter the menu where we're going to find all of these exciting and customizable settings that you should learn. We're going to hold this button on the bottom for just a couple seconds, and then we're in the menu. Now we're going to cycle down. These are the two most exciting features that we want to talk about first, and that's torque ratio and amp output. Now torque ratio, a good way to think about this is it's a setting of how easy it is to receive power at each level. So this is how much torque your legs will have to apply to reach the max amp output at each level. So that torque ratio, again, it's a setting of how easy you want the pedaling to be at each level. Amp output, simple way to think about amp output, it's really just the power level or the power output at each level. So amp output by default on Eco is half or 50% of the total power, but it's really not going to feel that strong because we're only at 15% torque ratio. So that 15% torque ratio means you're going to have to pedal pretty hard to get the 50% of the total motor output here. And that total motor output is on a 25 amp controller. So that would be 12.5 amps if you were to get full power from that. So let's go back to torque ratio real quick. These are the stock settings, quite comfortable in my opinion. I didn't like to change them, but if you want it to be easier to get max power in any of these, we'll just go higher in the number. So if I think maybe sport is a little too difficult for my legs or too tiring, I will go to sport and I will tap the menu button and then I will press the up arrow and I will change this all the way up to 50%. For the purpose of this, I'm going to go to 45% and set it there. And then now let's exit torque ratio. Now you can do this at each level, of course. So amp output, again, changing this will change the total power potential at each level. So that's really nice that you can do that all in the display. And then if we go down to advanced settings, here you can actually change, of course, between cadence and torque, which is a nice feature. Now, if you do change it to cadence, you'll want to go back into amp output. So for example, if we were to change and have selected cadence mode instead of torque, torque ratio won't apply as you'll be in cadence sensor mode. So what will matter is your amp output. Now, if you're in cadence sensor mode, you're likely going to want to lower these numbers and index them a little bit differently. This is set up and designed for torque ratio. So I would lower Eco down all the way to 15% personally if I was going to be riding in cadence sensor mode. And then slowly index these higher, which you can change based on your preference. So let's go back. That's advanced settings, and that's the most relevant feature there. Reset, if you make a mistake or change a setting that you do not like, this reset functionality will reset all your settings back to the default, which is very helpful to have in case you make a mistake. It won't resolve your password issue, so do not lose that password if you create one. Now some of the other cool features in the display, let's go over them from the top. Time, of course, which we can see right there, it's 356. Unit, we can change miles and kilometers. Backlight, how bright you want your display to be. Auto sleep, very nice. I leave mine on a quick 5 minutes because I don't like to power it off. I actually just leave it and let it turn itself off. Password, if you do set a password, make sure not to lose it. Otherwise you cannot enter your display. And let's go to riding mode, another nice customizable feature here. You can change, I'm in off-road mode right now as I'm doing my riding right now on private roads and not in public. Now let's go down, Ebike Info. Now with this smarter battery and CAN bus protocol, communication protocol, we can see a little bit more detailed information on the battery. We can see the remaining capacity, the actual voltage right now, and even the battery's temperature, which is quite nice to be able to have. You can get specs on the display info, controller info, and just some more advanced information if you ever need to troubleshoot in the future. Now let's go back to the main menu and explain some of the features. On the left, this is a speed bar, which will change as you have changes in speed. And on the right, this is your wattage or amps. This is like looking at an RPM of a motor. Well, not the same, but similar. And then here obviously is when your flashlight is on, or when your headlight and taillight are on or off. We turn them on there and the display dims a little bit and then we turn it off. And we do that by just holding the plus button here. Battery percentage and then the battery bar. Here you have your watt output. And if I lift the wheel up, I can show you it is your active wattage usage. So it's very nice to be able to have that wattage output. If you have an EV, you're very familiar with this. That's really showing your energy efficiency in how you're riding. The more watts you use, the less range you will get, of course, but helpful to know how much power you are consuming or using while you're riding. And again, speed bar and then wattage bar. And then here you have your class mode that you're in, the Ride1Up logo, and those are the main settings you have here. Right here, which is missing, is your tracking. So if you want to turn on your connection to your tracking device, your Find My device, you can do that. This display will pair with your iPhone and you can find it and track it. You'll just have to follow the steps in the Vorsa display manual to set that up and to get connected. Quite easy to do so, helpful to have if you want to track your bike. Now, from the main menu, if we press the menu button once, and that menu button is located right next to the nice USB-C port, which is helpful to have again if you want to plug in some accessories or charge your phone or speaker from your bike. Now, if we press the menu button, we can see trip settings, odometer, total odometer, and some of the features of your trip. So your average speed of your trip, the max speed, and then if we press this, you can see how much of your time you spent at each level during the trip. To reset your trip, quite easy to do so. Just get to the screen in the menu and then hold the menu button and that will clear your trip. Once you select yes, it's reset. And so now if I check the trip, I have no average or max speed information. And there we are back at the main menu. And that's the main functionality of your Ride1Up Vorsa display. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.